Amy Schumer, where is it? It's just going to be all news. And unfortunately, it is the Curse-Free podcast because I chose the wrong day to do the Curse-Free podcast because it just looks like Hollywood has just decided to not double or quadruple down. It's like Hollywood got dealt a pair of twos in blackjack, and they split that. And then they got dealt another pair of twos, and they split on that. And the blackjack dealer was showing a queen. So Hollywood didn't learn its lesson. And it's all related. They're all tangentially related. I got two articles that aren't about Hollywood, but let's lead on here. Amy Schumer to play Barbie, an upcoming live-action family comedy. Yeah! I know why my parents now said television is stupid. At least back in the 80s and the 70s, even the 60s, you had like good shows like Leave It to Beaver, the Andy Griffith Show, Family Ties was in the 90s, Father Knows Best, My Three Sons. I'd even go that hippy dippy, somewhere in there was a communist, the Brady Bunch. I'll even admit that was good. But now, just the swill come on. And thank God there's the internet. Because at least you had an option. Back in the 80s when you were a kid, or the 70s, or even the 90s, there was either TV, you didn't have no internet, you were lucky if you got cable. We were talking, I went and visited DT over at the Hunker Bunker, blackbrigade.org, by the way. And so we're chit-chatting, and he's got Mystery Science Theater 3000 on. Now, I don't know about you, but that just looks scary and weird, even to me as an adult. I'm like, what weirdo freaky? She's like, dude, this is classic. Didn't you have cable? And then his wife immediately looks at me with the, I know where this one's going. And I'm like, no, I didn't have cable growing up as a kid. I didn't have cable. We weren't rich suburbanite elitists. Like, cable, that was, rich kids had cable. So maybe that was like the first time you could break away from the three major networks, ABC, NBC, and CBS. And you had cable. And then cable had a ton of different things. So there was that fractionalization, that specialization, the breaking away from the main. But then you had to pay extra for it. We didn't have money for HBO. And now, thank God the internet has come along because, I'm sure everyone's heard about the article about ESPN losing like 10% of their audience every year, which is fine by me, which is great. It's because everyone's switching over to the internet. And thank God you kids today, I'm not joking, you kids today at least have an option. You could go online and watch YouTube. You can watch stuff that's infinitely more intellectually stimulating and of your own tailored interest, I might add. Whatever you got an interest in, you could go find it on the internet. You don't have to watch this crap, this filth, this slop. How about Hollywood? They're going to double down on it. Amy Schumer is signed to play Barbie for an upcoming live-action comedy based on the popular toy line, Entertainment Tonight has learned. And I was thinking, like, she's going to spin it with her fat pride. She's going to spin it with her pro-Sow platform. She's not going to play it. And on top of it, how bad is the premise of this show going to be? Well, you'll find out. What's more, Amy Schumer, 35, is expected to rework the original script with her sister, Kim Caramel. So it's just going to be fabulous. Oh my goodness, Amy Schumer and her sister. Oh. Why would you, unless you were politically motivated, why would does profit or a concern for craft come in? Like, when I write a book or a quality post, not just one of linkage, but, when I try to put together a quality post, I take the time to outline it, I organize my thoughts, I labor over a good quality post about 2 hours. Or, I'm just trying to think, the great Matt Baldoni. You want to talk about somebody who masters this? If you ever go visit Matt, there will be a guitar and he will strum it within 15 minutes. He will be tinkering he'll be watching a video about technique. He will have music open and laid out. He will have his equipment. And if he's not, he's talking about playing guitars. Interestingly so. The man doesn't bore you, by the way. I'm just saying, he is concerned about his craft. He wants to know, am I putting forth the best that I can? Who else? I'm just thinking, any one of us, anybody that you know who is in the art of producing something of value, and with a little bit of artistic aspect to it, they care about the quality. Amy Schumer just doesn't care. It's all the politics to her. It's all fat acceptance, fat acceptance, fat. And look, I'm okay if you have yourself a little political platform, sweetheart. I'm okay if you, I work with PETA, or I help donate to the hairy armpit fund, whatever, fine, even if I disagree with the politics. But to make it the center post, or the center fold, or the centerpiece of your art and your work and your career, I mean, then you don't have a career. That's it. You're just like everybody else. I'm for fat as big as beautiful. Well, yeah, we've heard it a million times before. And it's not a noble cause, by the way. At least the aid to Africa was intended to do well. Naive, hurt him more in the long run than it helped, but at least it was intended to do well. This is just a selfish, tiresome, by the way, self-serving, ego-protecting, quote, charity or cause or crusade. She has no desire to actually help out women. She just wants to give them an excuse, and above all, she wants to give herself an excuse. And the reason we're only 2 sentences into this article, and I could say, is because it's so predictable. There's nothing that's going to be new here except to what extent of insanity and stupidity that Amy Schumer's going to go. Or Hollywood, I should say. Because it isn't just Amy Schumer. I mean, you got to get money and financiers behind this. This is not like, oh yeah, she just, like Bill Burr with F is for Family. Which is original, by the way. There's a perfect example of originality. And not putting politics into it. Bill Burr wanted to create a cartoon. There was no political thing. There was no hidden agenda. There was no ulterior motive. And he wanted to make it so that it was good. And the reason you could tell, astute observation by the old captain here, the reason you could tell Bill Burr wanted to put together a quality piece of work, a quality piece of art, versus making a political statement and not caring whether or not it made money, is the fact that he is on Netflix and Amy Schumer is going through what? The Sony Pictures, so it's going to be a television show. That's the difference. And that's why Bill Burr will be more fondly remembered than Amy Schumer will just be. She will just go down in history as another tiny sad footnote to the weird psychotic fat acceptance movement. Like when historians 1,000 years from now, we look back, but at the time, people are not, well, they didn't know as well. But when things are happening inside the bubble, inside that environment, people don't realize what's going on. Well, they're like, can this really be happening? Like here in the United States, like the rest of the world is laughing at us like, holy cow, look, they just let anybody in. They have no respect for themselves. If you dare criticize, say, no, we don't want foreigners in the country no more. Oh my God, you're racist, you're sexist, you're bigoted, you're homophobic. You're like, oh my God, can I say that? And everyone outside is like, holy cow, you don't beat up people who are illegally there like we do in Mexico and Guatemala? You don't immediately kick their asses out? We're surprised. You have no self-respect, do you? Oh, where was I going with this with Amy Schumer? Oh, so down the road, historians will look back. See, like the same thing with the Roman Empire. Well, at the time when Rome was becoming gluttonous and they were having bread and circuses, they didn't think about it. They didn't realize they were in the echo chamber. But now we look back, it's like, yeah, none of you were working. You're spending more than you were taking. You're relying on slaves to and constantly like trying to expand faster than you could hold territory. Historians look back, they can see that clearly. And they're going to look back at this fat acceptance movement and say, what the hell were you thinking? Look at here's an example. That's all she'll serve. She'll serve as a warning to others in the future if she even makes it to the history books. Here's this fat sow called Amy Schumer. And she did a show that had a half a season run. That won't be remembered. What will be remembered is like, hey, look at the comedic works of Bill Burr. Look at George Carlin. Look at people who came up with original stuff didn't necessarily have a political agenda behind it. True originators of craft and creativity. Something new. This, Amy Schumer's life is, she just became a fucking Sarah Silverman. That's all she did. A studio source describes the film as an imaginative family comedy with heart. Oh, well, that's original. I take everything I just said back, because this has never been done. An imaginative family comedy with heart. Holy crap. I'm sorry. I take everything back, Amy and Sony. Think Disney's Enchanted or Tom Hanks' classic Big. Yeah, that's original, though. And is the first of its kind. No, it's not. It's not the first of its kind. And it's the first of its kind to feature the timeless Mattel character. The movie is slated to be released next summer. The plot involves Barbie getting kicked out of Barbie Land for not being perfect enough and embarking on an adventure in the real world. Lauren Abrams, Senior Vice President of Production, will oversee the project for Sony Pictures. Hang on. Yeah, Sony, because apparently Sony didn't learn from Ghostbusters. They didn't learn from feminist Ghostbusters. They're going to do another movie full of politics. They really think selling to these niche groups, these niche political groups, tainting their movies with politics. Let's look up Laura Abrahams. Lauren Abraham. Abrahams. Laura Abrahams. Research project assistant. No. Hollywood reporter. Let's take a look. Do we get a picture? I always want to see what they look like. You have to forgive me. The internet is slow out here. Nothing. Variety. Laura Abrahams. VP. Just give me a picture. I just want to see if this is an ugly social justice warrior type looking person. Hang on. Oh, here we go. You gotta go to these people, guys. You gotta find out who's behind all this. Columbia Pictures hires new VP of Production Creative Executive. Devin Franklin at the promoted Vice President. And Laura Abrams has been named Creative Executive for Columbia Pictures. Now, is that part of Sony? Commenting, Franklin joined, Milano joined. Abrams graduated from Wesleyan, in 2003. As a development assistant for 2000, she served as Hallmark's assistant. She's serving as junior executive on the project SALT. Okay, so she just went to some liberal arts college. Is she good looking? Did she get ahead because of her looks? I'm sure she's got some worthless liberal arts degree. Oh, here she is. Yeah, she's an alright looking gal. I don't know how maybe she did get ahead. Yeah, she sounds like she put in her dues as an assistant. Columbia, Laura, Harvard. No, that's the different gal. The Stakes. Laura Abrahams. Internet Movie Database. No, different one. Alright, this is probably some no-name gal over at Sony. Has her liberal arts degree. Never thought about making movies that people would want to see. And so now we're going to have to tolerate a political lecture. Appealing to a PG audience will be somewhat new territory for Schumer, whose breakout film was the R-rated comedy. Where'd it go? It's the R-rated comedy Trainwreck. And I know I saw that. However, Mattel has previously received criticisms for the doll's unrealistic figure, and Schumer is taking on That Would Be Nice. As a major proponent of body confidence, Schumer has no problem calling out Glamour magazine for including her in the plus-size issue earlier in the year. I think there's nothing wrong with being plus-size, beautiful, healthy women. Schumer vented on this, blah, blah, blah. Women who inspires, blah, blah, blah. Chick at any size. Plus size is considered size 16 in America, Schumer noted before revealing what size she wears. I go between a size 7 and an 8. So then what is it, Amy? Are you proud that you're plus size or not? You're all body confident until someone says you're part of our plus size thing. You're on and you're like, I'm not that. Boy, I really like going to catechism and studying the Bible, but I'm not Christian. The magazine later clarified that the special edition issue was aimed at women size 12 and up, and did or did not. It keeps cutting out because they want to put so many ads on the print-offs. We believe her passionate and vocal message of body positivity is inspiring. Inspiring, beautiful, gorgeous, wonderful, amazing. The Modern Day Dictionary of American Women.